why you cannot trust human resources in the workplace, and things you need to be aware of. So do not go anywhere. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So if you're currently going through any issues with human resources, please do not go anywhere. Put the handbrakes on, because I'm going to share things today which are the major red flags with human resources and what you might need to be aware of, or some things that might make a light bulb go off and think, oh, that's happening right now. So I'm hoping to bring awareness because there are major issues with that department. Now, before we continue, disclaimer, I'm fully aware there is a minority of HR reps that are trying to do a good thing, and good on you, and please continue doing so. However, I do find that HR reps will probably go into the job with a good intention to work for the employer and the employees, being well balanced and respectful on both parts. But ultimately, the employer's job is to have HR reps that are going to look after the company and avoid lawsuits. That's the God's honest truth, right? And also, human resources are supposedly there to resolve problems, but it rarely happens. I've had over 100 DMs with horrific cases of human resources mistreating people, wrongdoing, evidence being swept under the carpet, never remembering conversations, people being fired, gross misconduct, and it's just awful. And I know this happens day in, day out, which is why I want to bring awareness. I did a video on my TikTok, which was do not enter that room, which is the first issue that we're going to cover, which is called the open door policy. Now, I am here to bring awareness. I'm not an employment lawyer or anything like that, but I've experienced a lot of what I'm talking about firsthand. I've seen it. I know it goes on. A lot of my content is also around escaping employment and also the issues that have not been dealt with in employment. I have a good base of knowledge in terms of all the issues that are going on right now. And to be honest with you, they are so wrong, hence why we're going to go through some of them. So if you relate to these, please let me know in the comments below. I'm hoping that this either brings awareness before anything happens to you, or if you're going through something right now and it's stressing you the hell out, hopefully you might avoid it getting worse, or you might be able to make a better decision. Because I will say this, first and foremost, your mental health comes first. If a job is absolutely destroying you, you're developing low self-esteem, lack of confidence, anxiety, borderline depression, and you're taking it out on your family when you're going home or your kids, that job's not worth it. Escape while you can. So number one, open door policy. Do not buy into this. Most work contracts have this day one. You'll be signing your agreement to start work, and at some point in the T's and C's, it will say, you know, we have an open door policy. You can talk to us about anything and raise any issues, and it will all be confidential. Utter rubbish, which is what that video, and hopefully my editor can bring it up next to me, 5.9 million views. It was me talking about you never enter the room with a manager or HR with no email thread, no agreement that there is a conversation happening, no confirmation in an email thread after. You never have one-to-one conversations face-to-face or on the phone, because they disappear. So if you are building a case or it gets further into investigation or there's grievances, you need as much evidence as you can to take forwards to make sure you win your grievance, because it's very strenuous, all of this. Like, mentally it's tiring. So to be told that your conversations in the early days have disappeared is going to make you incredibly angry, frustrated, and very bitter towards that company, where it just gets nasty. So open door policy, do not buy into that. One of the tactics is to have as many conversations to extract information from you about what the problem is. Typically you have an issue with a line manager or a work colleague, and to make sure that these conversations are unrecorded. They never happened. But what they gain from it, the human resources department, they gain all the information which you're telling them that there's a problem with X line manager, they've been doing this, there's bullying going on. They don't want that information going any further. But what they are going to do is they're going to tell that line manager, we have a problem with X employee and we need to deal with it, because it's far easier to deal with a low-level employee than it is to deal with a manager who might have their feet rooted in the ground, you know? So let's deal with the issue, and you might leave that meeting. Anyone ever felt this? A little bit nervy. You were told it's confidential. You were told that it's going to be resolved and that updates and that you might be invited back to another meeting, but you feel a bit nervy now. You feel like you might have said too much and that this was a wrong decision. If your gut's telling you that, the truth is it was the wrong decision. You almost want to build a case and take it to an external third-party solicitor, employment lawyer to deal with it, or get yourself into a union to take it to a tribunal or something like that, if it's that bad. Now, what's going to happen after this is typically human resources will, this sounds so doom and gloom, but they're going to start building a case against you. So they're going to sit down with that line manager that you've got a problem with the bullying, harassment, whatever it might be, and they're going to go through your performance. Have you been late? Have you been sick? Have there been any performance issues? What can they now build discreetly in the background about you? Because what they're going to do is, although you've raised an issue, they're going to turn the investigation on you, so that rather than going through a lawsuit where you can have something against the company, they're actually going to try and mitigate and eradicate you, which is what human resources are there to do. It wouldn't be very good, would it, if an employer hired a HR department and the reps in human resources kept winning cases for unhappy employees who said no to bullying, who said no to harassment, and the HR reps kept winning all the cases and the company kept having to pay out lawsuit money or payoff money. The employer's going to be going, hang on a minute, I hired you to mitigate these problems and deal with them swiftly and sweep them under the carpet, not get them loads of payouts. It's very logical, right? It all makes sense. So they will start creating some form of an investigation against you. So be aware of that. The first question is, do you even need to go to human resources, or can you go to the highest possible manager, the CEO, or do you need to take on an external lawyer against the company, depending on how bad it is, depending on how much this has really affected you. Because again, if it's mentally affecting you, it's just easier to get another job, in all honesty. When will HR start looking into you actively? If you are someone that is starting a side hustle because you need to bring in more money, perhaps the growth opportunities aren't within your job, but you're happy to remain there, but you're starting to bring in more money through a side hustle and you're starting a business. This is a massive problem for any company, and they will start to do the following. Because I've experienced this when I started my business, and when they found out, luckily I'd already built my business, so I was able to leave my job immediately, but they found out maybe a month before I left and they tried to cause problems for me. If you are some form of an entrepreneur who can bring in side hustle money alongside your job, they're going to start looking at you on social media. Are you posting during work days? And if you're trying to bring in side hustle money and build a business, one, you could go full time, so you could eventually leave, so they won't want to put time, money and resources into you and train you up in potentially a side hustle business which you're building, which could conflict directly with the business you work in. Because some people extract information from a company they're working in because they're going to start that exact same business on the side. So they've got all this internal secret data of how the business is running, and little do they know you're actually building the same business to compete with them. So they will see you as a direct conflict of interest. They'll see you as that threat. They won't want to put time, money and resources into you. Managers will hate it, because if you're an assistant or a supervisor building a business, you've got more ambition than the manager who just wants to brown nose and climb the ladder. So you're going to make them feel quite bitter and nasty towards you, because jealousy is a horrible thing, and they're going to be jealous about that because you've got your own ambitions. So if you are doing that and you have to build your side hustle in the workplace, block everyone on social media immediately. Now, the best advice I can give you when it comes to dealing with human resources is you cover your arse and you always build your own case. Time, dates, witnesses, what happened, and you get everything into an email thread, and you always put the ball back in their court. You have had a conversation, email it, detail it, send it back. Can you confirm this is what we spoke about? And you do that all the time. And they're going to know that you're onto them. So they're going to have to be whiter than white. They're going to have to act swiftly. The only problem you are going to have is they're going to see you as an issue. There's this typical thing, and I've seen it many a time. A manager will say an employee is a problem if they have a backbone, if you speak up against things that are wrong, if you disagree, but you counter with a better idea, if you see someone else being mistreated, or you see harassment, or you're experiencing bullying or passive aggressive behavior, and you're the person that puts your hand up and says, I'm not accepting this. This is not okay. This is absolutely ludicrous. I will not put up with it. You are the problem. And you will be titled as a problem worker. That's what I was. I was someone who was a problem because I had a backbone. Ultimately, what does an old school corporate industrial company want? And it doesn't even have to be an old school company, but I'm painting that picture. What do they want? That sort of Nazi SS whip cracking type manager and CEO. What do they want? People who do as they are told. Yes men and yes women. They want to crack the whip. They want maximum output on minimal pay. So they want sheep. It's a really bad impression, but they want sheep. They don't want a shepherd. I was a shepherd. I thought for myself. I was innovative. I questioned things, and I came up with my own solutions. That's not a person who belongs in employment. Hence why I'm running my own businesses now, and I'm sitting here doing this YouTube video to make you aware that if you are someone who wants to explore your own business, you cannot sow that seed to anyone in the workplace, because HR will get whiff of that, and it's the beginning of the end for you. Unfortunately, you just cannot trust HR. Human resources, also known as human remains, as I was reminded, or human removal. Human removal is probably the most accurate one. They're there to deal with the issue. They're there to mitigate any lawsuits. They will do and lie if need be. There's not a lot they won't do. Borderline legally, there's not a lot that they won't do. So if you are going through it, I think what you need to do, if you want my final advice, is you need to weigh up, is it worth it? Are you struggling so much that it's taking a toll on your mental health that you're leaving the workplace and you're going home and you're worrying about it? You're getting to Sunday and you start work Monday and you just can't enjoy the moment with your family. You're sitting there on the sofa and you're not talking to your partner because you've got this dread, this apprehensive feeling of going in and not knowing if you're being investigated. Is your problem going to be dealt with? I'll be totally honest with you. If you're feeling like that, you need to start somewhere else. Blank canvas. And start somewhere else a little bit wiser. There's nothing wrong with that. Look, is this my most upbeat video? No. But I'm hoping it's related to people and I'm hoping it's brought more awareness, because that's what this is about. We need more equality. We need more compassion, more empathy. We need leaders over managers instead of employees, team members. If the employee has to have a performance review, why are the employees not giving monthly reviews on their leaders, which is getting sent back as a report? How's the leaders doing? I'm all about equality and human rights in terms of, whether you're the CEO of a company or you're the cleaner, both of you should still be talking as two human beings that respect each other equally. It's got nothing to do with the pay packet. Unfortunately, though, that's not the world that we're in. It's all a world that is egotistic and full of titles, which is why I do a lot of this content, is to kind of try and bring people back down and really push against what is considered the norm, unfortunately, which is such a shame. So I hope this has helped. If you would like me to dive in, this is a very general overview of human resources and just what to be aware of. But if you want me to do any more specific videos and you've got certain cases or certain issues that you've gone through, like a case study, let me know in the comments and I will try and put together maybe a series of these videos based on around what you want to see. Please do hit like and subscribe. It really helps me and motivates me to keep creating these types of videos, and I'll see you very soon on the next video.